Hey, Mayor. Following up on Taman's question, part of the reason it was so noteworthy that you proposed a property tax hike is that you campaigned against it, of course. And so I want to understand why you're standing behind it now. Why do you think that property taxes are still the best way to raise $150 million? Do you view this as the best way to make a structural budget change, or what is it?
So I got all 5 of your questions, so pass the mic, no follow-up. All right, we got to be fair, but that was smooth, Jake. Look, this is about making investments in people.
I did have a follow-up. And
so
that,
your
that was,
first 5 questions?
It was one question.
No, it wasn't. You asked me about, I campaigned for something, and then I did not do that. And then you asked whether or not that was the right call to make. That's what you did. That was 2 questions, Jake. I'm just saying, go ahead with your follow-up. But I'm saying that if we're going to hold to the rules in this space for your colleagues, just stick to it, okay? Go ahead. You can get a follow-up this time.
Your chief of external affairs reportedly insists you have 26 votes on this proposal.
Who did she say that to?
That was reported in the Sun-Times.
Who did she say it to?
I believe Franz Bielman, the reporter of that story.
But you're not sure.
Is that true, is what I'm asking.
Okay, so is it true that I have 26 votes on this proposal? Is it true? We are still in the process of negotiating.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got to talk about woke Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, who does not want people like me talking about Chicago. Okay, he says people like me should keep Chicago's name out of my mouth because I don't live there. Okay. However, woke Mayor Brandon Johnson is not making Chicago a place that anybody would want to live because of how he is running the city into the ground. Okay. And now he's trying to raise taxes to pay for the illegal immigrants in his city. Okay. And he has been humiliated by his own city council. They voted 50-0 to strike down his property tax increase proposal. And he's still trying to ram through the proposal, despite the fact that he promised, he campaigned on not increasing property taxes. And he can't seem to answer basic questions as to why is it that he is not fulfilling his promise of not raising property taxes. Take a look.
There's still no deal for next year's budget in the city. Mayor Brandon Johnson's plan to balance a nearly $1 billion shortfall with a property tax hike was shut down.
Right now, we're learning some new things are on the table as political reporter Chris Ty asks the mayor what grade he'd give himself so far this term.
This matter has been voted down.
The exceedingly rare 50-0 rejection of the mayor's budget by council last week was framed by some as
it sends a message that massive property tax increase he was looking for is not going to happen.
So now the mayor's cutting the $300 million ask to $150 million. But will that get the 26 votes needed?
If there were 26 votes to pass it, you would see this meeting scheduled in order to pass it. It hasn't happened because the votes aren't there.
Some individuals are having tantrums right now. It's time to grow up. People in Chicago don't have time for that. They're still going to have to come back and vote something up.
2 items have bubbled up to chip away at the near $1 billion shortfall. One, a possible $128 million personal property tax on services provided to customers by way of cloud computing, essentially services offered in a virtual storage space online. The other, raising the city tax on streaming services like Netflix, expected to raise $10 million.
An ordinance.
This mayor often references his old teaching job while doing his new one. Just today.
At least you know that I pay attention to the class. And then you got a chance to ask a question before people who were on time for class.
So we asked him, as he's just passed his first trimester in office.
As a report card, as a progress report on yourself, what areas for improvement would you put atop that list, and what grade would you give yourself at the moment?
So I think in terms of an area of improvement, people, for whatever reason, they're not hearing that homicides are down, shootings are down, and that investments are up.
So your grade again would be what?
So again, I think, as I said, I think it's too early.
Teachers have to give grades when it's time?
Well, it's good that I'm the mayor of the city of Chicago, and I don't have to do anything that you asked me to do, quite frankly, right?
As for the budget, talks continue. That $150 million proposal is just that. There is no deal yet on it. Mayor Johnson says the talks continue throughout the week. In the newsroom, Chris Ty, CBS News, Chicago.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. Okay, this guy is so delusional. Okay, he's so delusional. But hey, he's entertaining. He knows that he has done such a bad job that he can't come out here with a straight face and to give himself a better grade than an F, right? Anything more than an F, okay, people would say, what the hell is this man talking about? Okay, you're the worst mayor in Chicago history. Now, is it a coincidence that the worst mayor in Chicago history, which again, I thought was a hard thing to do after Lori Lightfoot, right? I mean, but this guy makes Lori Lightfoot look decent, okay? It's crazy to think about. But is there any coincidence that the worst mayor in Chicago's history is a progressive, is a far leftist? I keep telling you guys about these people, okay? And look, you guys all understand. But there are people in this country that really do believe that progressivism is the answer, right? This country needs to be more progressive. And I'm like, no. That's the last thing that we need. This country is way too progressive, okay? And the perfect example of how progressive leadership doesn't work is looking at these local cities. Look at these local cities. Anywhere that this stuff is tried, it ends up in a disaster. This is why you have a bunch of these progressive Democrats being voted out of office in these progressive cities like San Francisco, Oakland, etc. This is why they're losing their jobs. So Brandon Johnson, who is clearly full of himself, right? He's going to get a reality check from William J. Kelly, who is my favorite reporter ever, to be honest with you. And Brandon Johnson here is going to get triggered after William Kelly doesn't call his wife First Lady, which, again, is a hilarious clip. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Chicagoans are very alarmed that at a time when Chicago is clearly fighting for its financial survival, that you're out of state campaigning for Kamala Harris. You are defending Little Dirk. This is your priority. You and your wife Stacy have a 200-plus CPD police security detail when real Chicagoans are obviously afraid and victims of violent crime. And of course, they feel that you are taxing them into financial slavery to pay for migrants. The exact amount of this tax increase that you're proposing is, I think, to the penny what you've already given to one of the migrant vendors. The migrant vendor named Favorite Healthcare Staffing, not to mention all the other migrant vendors. Wouldn't it make more sense for your tax increase to simply be called a migrant tax on Chicagoans?
Well, if you could just do me a favor, the next time you refer to my wife, refer to her as the First Lady. I prefer that you not remain so familiar with her that way.
Right.
Okay.
The First Lady, and you have a security detail of 200
Thank
plus.
you. I've heard your question.
Right.
Thank you for respecting my wife that way.
Right.
As far as the detail is concerned, there are 4 mayors. The detail operation reflects all of the mayors, past and present. The particular portion of my detail is not the size in which you've described. I believe it's less than 30 or so. That there are shifts that are ran, and like every other mayor, that detail is appropriated according to again what every other mayor has had. As far as what this budget is about investing in people. And what's clear in this budget is that we are investing in youth and workforce. And at a time in which, unfortunately, there has been a great deal of real mean-spirited attacks against young black and brown children.
When you say mean-spirited attacks against young black youth,
so
are
basically,
you talking about the carjackers or the armed robbers? Or are you just talking about every young black child in the city of Chicago? I'm not sure what you're referring to.
You're not?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. Well, there's black and brown children in this city who I'm going to invest in.
And
that's who I'm referring
dying
to.
in larger. They're being shot and murdered. I'm sorry. And
thank you for your question.
Why aren't you worried about their safety?
Thank you for your question.
Have you?
Yo, I love this guy. The reason why I love William J. Kelly is because he does to Democrats what the liberal media does to Republicans, right? They will load up a question with all types of accusations and context and then just fire one off, right? Just fire one off. And that never happens to Democrats. It never happens to them. In the mainstream, like CNN, MSNBC, they never do that to Democrats. But they do that all the time to Republicans. So this guy is giving this Democrat mayor a taste of his own medicine. But what you saw there was Brandon Johnson once again playing a race card, right? I mean, he's basically trying to justify his socialism with, oh, well, they're mean-spirited attacks on black and brown children, right? And William Kelly turns it back around on him and says, well, what are you talking about? What do you mean? You mean like the actual like violence that happens in the city as a result of crime, gangs, stuff like that? Is that what you mean, right? Like, because those are the actual mean-spirited attacks that are happening, right? Against so-called black and brown children. But what Brandon Johnson means is, well, if you don't agree with me, if you don't agree with my increase in taxes, if you don't agree with me taking care of the illegal immigrants, then you must hate black and brown children, right? That is the attack against black and brown children, is not funneling more money into the pockets of his allies, right? Like the teachers unions and all of the woke illegal immigrant administrators that he has in the city that are getting paid, that are getting rich, right? So if his buddies aren't getting paid, then you're attacking black and brown children. That is what he actually really means. And it's so disgusting how he weaponizes these kids in Chicago, right? And racism in order to justify an agenda that does nothing to help out the constituents that he claims that he's trying to help. His proposals are hurting Chicagoans. When you talk about raising property taxes, you're actually hurting those so-called black and brown children because their parents have to pay more taxes, which means that's less money for them to support the children, right? And again, where's that money going? Going to illegal immigrants, people who are not American citizens, and the teachers unions, right? The teachers. That's what's going. And the woke nonprofits. It's going to everybody except the people that he claims he's trying to help, right? It's going to his wife so that she can get a brand new office. I think what? They spent like $80,000 renovating her office, right? Who he demands, oh, you got to call her first lady. First lady? You ain't the president, brother. You're not the president. You're the mayor of Chicago. You're not the president of the United States. Get out of here. Get out of here. I don't have to put no respect on her name. Who are you, right? Who are you? You're a mayor. Now, again, you're a mayor of a big city, but still you're a mayor, okay? Let's keep it 100. But, you know, hey, this story will be probably one of my favorite stories to cover. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.